Good Thursday morning, Lenny. What a great start to the day. And it's good to see all of you guys in the chat room this morning. And we're going to take a deep plunge. Are you ready? Baseball is back. It's something about Garrett Cole's press conference yesterday at the stadium and brings out his sign, Yankee fan today, tomorrow, and forever. And it just fires me up because here I am thinking maybe this could actually be the year for the Yankees. You never know, right? But you got to believe, and I know it's killing people like Andrea Lamont. But, hey, great day in Yankee Town yesterday with Cole's press conference, his beautiful wife, a cast of thousands assembled. And so where do we go this morning? Well, I was reading just a few minutes ago, a new entrant has emerged as a potential suitor for Frankie Lindor. Who, you might say? This is fresh. This is like 9:05 a.m. stuff this morning. The Cincinnati Reds. Yes, the Cincinnati Reds are now engaged in talks with the Indians about getting the superstar shortstop known as Francisco Lindor. Now the mix includes the Reds, the Dodgers, the Padres. So many teams after Frankie Lindor. Now, here's the thing about Cincinnati. And let's talk about these Reds for a moment. Good morning, Andrea, Dale, DK Lush, Doug Boyle, Lenny, Malpal, Phil Chaplin, Kevin Hastings, who's on at 11. Don't forget Kevin Hastings on at 11. And Kevin, maybe we could even get a call in here in a few minutes. Let me know what you think about that. Not to give away your show, but to maybe just help me with mine. You never know. But how about the Reds? Let's talk about them. Engaged in this trade, here we go. Cincinnati, already Mike Moustakas in the offseason. They acquired Yasiel Puig last year, Trevor Bauer. And who would have ever thought last midseason Trevor Bauer would have gone to the Reds? Okay? Signing Moustakas to the 4-year, $64 million contract. Wade Miley signed on Wednesday. We're going to talk about Wade Miley in just a few moments. But a big bat remains on the Reds list, and boy, wouldn't Lindor be just that. Now, if you talk about trade bait, the Reds have a lot of prospects. Nick Senzel, remember that guy? Jonathan India, Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo. And they've had a recent history of dealing with Cleveland. Remember, aforementioned Jake Bauer last July. Cleveland has traded Corey Kluber to Texas, clearing about $17 million from the 2020 payroll. Lindor will earn about $17 million this coming season, his second of 3 arbitration-eligible years. He's under club control through 2021. He's expected to get a mammoth deal, easily surpassing $300 million at that point. Now, the Reds will have to overwhelm him, I'm sure. But the Reds have prospects to get it done. And so, this morning, MLB.com, Mark Feinstein says, the Reds are now engaged in Lindor talks. Wow. Can't wait to see what happens with that one. He's got to go somewhere, don't you think? Let's talk about some prospects up and coming. I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk about some. I'm going to look at the chat room while we're doing it. Andrea says, Miley reunites with former pitching coach from Milwaukee, Shelby Miller. Cincinnati, I've already said this. 2 teams I'm looking for in 2020, the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago White Sox. I just feel like both of those teams are going to be superlative. The question being, why does Lindor have to go anywhere? Good question. Obviously, Cleveland must have some interest in moving or the discussions wouldn't be continuing. Why? I don't know. He's the face of that franchise. He's a great player. He's a great guy. And now with all the talk, do you think that they almost have to move him? It's crazy, I know. Let's talk about some minor league players this morning. And we're going to look at a few. We're going to also look at some teams. Okay? First of all, Brandon Marsh. Angels prospect number 2. Last year, back injury, took out his debut. The Angels drafted Marsh in the second round of the 2016 draft. And in his first Double-A campaign this past year, the 22-year-old hit .300 with a .428 slugging percentage, 7 homers, 30 extra base hits over 412 plate appearances in the Southern League. Just as impressive was his performance in the Arizona Fall League, where he posted a .909 OPS with 2 homers, 8 extra base hits in 19 games. He had a strong 2019 campaign. His ground ball rate jumped a little, but Marsh has demonstrated an advanced approach and walked at an 11.4% clip. He's posted double-digit walk rates at every full season stop during his career. Last season in the Southern League, where his, check this out, 7% swinging strike rate was the circuit's 6th best mark. He hits to all fields, hard contact, line to line, left side of the plate, game power. Marsh, a strong candidate for a power spike in 2020. So you're in those dynasty leagues. You feel chaplains of the world. Write down that name, Brandon Marsh. He is the number 2 prospect for the Angels. Yeah, I'm giving you some deep stuff this morning. You got to be ready. Get your notepads out, folks. Here we go. I'm back. Here's another one. Christian Robinson, Diamondback, prospect number 2, outfielder, signed for $2.5 million. Woo-hoo, Arnie. Love it, Andrea Lamont. Christian Robinson signed for $2.5 million out of the Bahamas in July of 2017. I guess he was drinking some fruity drinks back then, huh? Robinson might have had the highest ceiling of any teenage prospect in the minors, not named Wander Franco. And how many of us know that name? Doug Boyle, George Malpow, Phil Chaplin. We know that name, don't we? Timothy Hooker and Kevin Hastings. When you're second on a prospect list in a minor to Wander Franco, you're pretty dang good. A physical specimen, Christian Robinson, 6'3", 190 pounds. He's 19 years old. Right-handed power. And we've already been talking about the Diamondbacks. The trades they're making, the moves they've made, and here they've got 19-year-old Christian Robinson, their number 2 prospect. He had a .282, .514 slugging, 14 homers, 51 RBIs, 17 steals across 2 levels last year. He posted a higher ground ball rate. And it's scary to think about the type of numbers he may produce with his FB and his LD rate north of 50%. So let's move on. Yeah, he does. Robinson's been around. We've heard that name. He's only 19, George. Only 19. And if you're in a dynasty league and this guy is out there, I think the Diamondbacks are building for the future and playing for the present. And Christian Robinson, their number 2 prospect, he's a guy you got to keep your eye on. Here's a third player. Tyler Stevenson, catcher, Cincinnati Reds. First round pick, 2015 draft. In addition to hitting .285 and a .410 slugging percentage last year, he had 6 home runs. He walked at a 10% clip. And his swinging strikeout rate last year down to 8.2%. 10th best among Southern League hitters. His batted ball profile suggests that this 23-year-old Stevenson is only scratching the surface as it relates to power. After producing a 55.8% FB plus LD rate while hitting a career-high 11 homers in 2018, this 6'4" right-handed hitter improved his FB plus line drive rate, that's fly ball plus line drive, FB plus LD, to 60% last year. So when you're a power hitter and 60% of the balls you hit are line drives and fly balls, what does that translate to? It translates to home runs. His 60% rate, 5th best among non-AAA top 30 prospects. His line drive rate improved for the 3rd straight year, climbing to 22.6%. Stevenson. Check him out. Write him down. Tyler Stevenson. George, lucky you. You own him in your 20-team dynasty. That's a great kid to own. Another one. Are you loving it this morning? I'm giving you the deep stuff. I mean, I've read all about the free agents. I've heard all about the free agents. It's a great free agent market. And Hyun-Jin Ryu and different players are still yet to land. We don't know where the next third baseman will be playing. We don't know about Frankie Lindor. It's great to talk about. That's the great thing about December baseball. But we also know Dynasty, as you say, George, it's now. It's month to month. It's great. Are you with me, Phil Chaplin? It's about time for you and I to do another show, pal. Maybe we could do one together really soon. How about over Christmas? What do you think? Let me know. Here's another player. Nick Decker, outfielder. Here we go. I've seen him play. 2nd round pick in the 2018 draft. Signed with Boston for a $1.25 million. Appeared in only 2 games during his pro debut, but fully healthy. And last year, he showcased a blend of hitting power and potential. 6 home runs in the Class A short season New York Penn League. He did strike out 30% of the time, but his swinging strike rate checked in at 14%, and he walked in 11% rate. Decker's numbers don't jump off the page, but look at his batted ball profile from the season. The 20-year-old outfielder was an impactful hitter, 60.5% fly ball plus line drive rate, tops in the circuit, ranked 9th among all top 30 prospects. So there's you another one. A Red Sox, no doubt. Nick Decker. Moises Gomez, Rays number 13 prospect. Gomez tends to get overlooked. High-risk prospect without AA experience, but arguably the Class A Midwest League's top slugger in 2018. That was his first full season. He led that league in extra base hits, 60. 2nd in slugging, 503. 4th in home runs, 19. Then he added another 16 homers last year in the Florida State League. And had 44 extra base hits last year at Class A Advanced Charlotte. 21-year-old right-handed hitter. The book is he's got an explosive bat. He hits to all fields. But he does strike out a lot. 164 strikeouts last year. Finished 2nd in the Florida State League. Ugh, I can't get it out. Good morning, Mal Pal. But he had a 43.4% fly ball rate. Highest among non-AAA top 30 prospects. Fly ball line drive rate, 59.5%. Write him down. Moises Gomez, outfielder for the Rays. J.J. Majevic, Astros. I've watched Majevic play. Got his autograph last year in the Carolina League. First full season, 277 average. Had a 50-game suspension in 2017. And then last year, his 24-year-old's Double-A campaign, 251 average, 11 homers, 78 games. He's a University of Arizona product, a 31.5% line drive rate. Also made significant gains last year. Same side pitching. He's a lefty, posting a 798 OPS against lefties, up from 549, almost 250 points higher in one season. These are guys you need to write down, you need to be looking at as we get into the season, as we get into drafts. And so now what I want to do is I want to look at some prospects. I want to look at some teams who are going to rely on their farm systems and look at these guys they have in their system. I've seen, and I'm going to talk about teams I've actually seen players playing on the teams, okay? So let's talk about the Kansas City Royals this morning. Loaded with minor league talent. And at the top of the list, pitcher, right-handed pitcher, Brady Singer. Drafted in the first round in 2018. Has a plus fastball, plus slider. Watched him play last year in the Carolina League. Give you some numbers on him. At High A Wilmington, where I saw him pitch, 5-2, a 1.87 ERA, 10 games started, 57 2/3 innings, 53 strikeouts, a 1.11 whip, midseason called up to Double-A. For Northwest Arkansas Naturals, sounds like a beer to drink, huh? 7-3, a 3.47 ERA, 90 innings, 85 strikeouts. At both levels, teams hit below 250 against him. Doesn't walk a lot of batters. He's changed his arm slot this offseason. And Brady Singer will be in a Kansas City rotation appearing near you soon. Here's another one. Daniel Lynch, a left-handed pitcher. Plus fastball, plus slider. Saw him pitch last year at the end of the year for High A Wilmington. Went 5-2, a 3.10 ERA. In 78 innings, he struck out 77 batters. A 1.26 whip. Question is Brady Singer related to Bill Singer? And frankly, I don't know. Bill Singer, ex-Angel Dodger, great. But I don't know if he is or not. There's more pitching for Kansas City. Jackson Kowar, who elevated up to Double-A last year with Northwest Arkansas Naturals. Saw him pitch in the Carolina League again. Tell you what, the Carolina League is loaded, guys. You need to come watch some with me. 5-3 record for Wilmington. 3.53 ERA, 74 innings, 66 strikeouts. After that, promoted up to Double-A, where in 74 innings he struck out 78 batters. The list goes on. They have another lefty. Here's the foursome finally. I love Billy Singer too. You know, that was in that Messersmith trade. Remember, George? Singer for Messersmith. Messersmith went from the Angels to the Dodgers. Singer went from the Dodgers to the Angels. Back in, 72, 73? Singer threw a no-hitter. He was a pretty good pitcher, right? Chris Bubick, the fourth of those Royals pitchers. 7-4 last year, 2.30 ERA, 17 games started, 101 innings, 110 strikeouts. Opponents only hit 215 against him. for the year at 2 levels. Opponents only hit 199 against him. I'm telling you, this foursome for Kansas City. Now, I've just named 4 starting pitchers, all in the Kansas City system, all in their top 6 prospects. Let's go through them again. Singer, Lynch, Kowar, and Bubick. Great pitching. Now, if Kansas City can only get some hitting going on, they've got a catcher, MJ Melendez. Great potential. Last year he only hit 163. Nick Prado. Again, great potential. Last year at High A, he only hit 191. These guys have got to hit for Kansas City's farm system to be what it could be. But the pitching is certainly there. So let's look at another team. As we move from Kansas City, I want to take a look at the White Sox. Because I've been talking about White Sox karma. Oh my gosh, you know they made the trade for Mazzara. But it's the prospects that make you salivate. Luis Robert, we got to start him. Finished the year at AAA. Listen to these numbers last year. I'm going to give you his total minor league season, okay? He played at 3 levels, High A, Double A, Triple A. He had 503 at-bats, 31 doubles, 11 triples, 32 home runs, 92 RBIs, 36 stolen bases, a .328 average. Did anybody ever call Luis Bob? OBP of 376, slugging of 624, and an OPS of 1.001. The number 3 prospect in all of baseball, and the number 1 outfield prospect. Now, I guess he's one of these kids that will start the year at AAA and after a couple of weeks get the call up, right? But I'm telling you, I've watched this kid play. I've watched Eloy Jimenez in the minor leagues. I've watched Luis Robert in the minor leagues. In the minor leagues, Robert is a better player. How to pan out in the major leagues, I have no idea. But as a minor leaguer, watching multiple games, here's the thing. With Eloy Jimenez, you remember the trade? Well, when Eloy came up, he came up in the Cubs system. So I get to watch him play when he's at Myrtle Beach. He's traded midseason to the White Sox. Now he's in Winston-Salem. So I get multiple games of watching Eloy Jimenez. Now he's up to Charlotte last year before getting to the majors. Stayed in North Carolina. Luis Robert, the same system really. He was at Charlotte. He was at Winston-Salem. So I've gotten to watch a lot of these kids. And the eyeball test is Robert is better. His bat's a little quicker. He's got a little more speed. And frankly, I like his attitude. We shall see. We shall see. How about Andrew Vaughn? Number 1 pick in the draft last year. 3rd overall. Vaughn, you know, his story's interesting. 60 hits, 60 power. Can't run a lick. But he went from an inherited Northern California high schooler to the best hitter in the college ranks during his 3 years at California. He hit .374 with 50 homers in 160 games, won the Golden Spikes Award as a sophomore, surpassed Brandon Morrow as the highest drafted player in Golden Bears history, and he signed for $7.221 million. Right-handed bat. Last year finished the year at Single A, where he hit .252. Likely to start the year there again. First baseman in the making, which leads me to Nick Madrigal. Boy, I love Nick Madrigal. Finished the year with Charlotte last year. And at AAA Charlotte, he hit .331. At AA Southern League, .341. He had .311 on the year. His worst average was at Single A. Check out these numbers for Madrigal. Second baseman now. He should be the starting second baseman when the season starts. .473 at bats. Guess how many strikeouts? 16. 16 strikeouts in 473 at-bats. What's not to love about Nick Madrigal? Wow. And the list goes on. Dane Dunning, Jonathan Stever, Luis Basabe, Blake Rutherford, Gavin Sheets. I'm telling you, the White Sox are loaded. And I haven't even mentioned Michael Kopech, who's coming off elbow surgery, who will be in that rotation this year for the White Sox. So it's a great farm system we're looking at here. Kansas City, White Sox. What I'm getting at is the American League Central is going to be a force to be dealt with. Any news on Chris Bryant? You know, the Cubs talking about trading him away. And maybe they will. Do you think that's a good move? To me, I just don't like Bryant leaving Chicago. Number one, he does so many things, playing outfield, playing third base. Now, they've talked about trading some other players. I guess the talk has been, they were going to talk about trading Contreras, but then the shift has been to Bryant, and maybe Phil Chaplin knows more about that as a Cubs fan than I. Apparently, they're thinking that they can get more out of Bryant than they can Contreras. The Yankees have some interest in Schwarber. Lenny mentioned that this morning. Did a great job with that analysis. To me, Schwarber, of all the places to play left field, Yankee Stadium would be my last choice. That is a graveyard out there. And last I checked, it's not exactly, Schwarber, not exactly the most fleet of foot. How's that? Yeah, Luis Basabe of the White Sox does have a twin brother. Luis Basabe, Doug Boyle, got to see him play 2 years ago at the Carolina League. Great talent. You don't hear a lot about this kid. So why don't we talk about him for a moment, Luis Basabe. Outfielder, can hit to all fields. Did have a little bit of an injury, but he's their 7th-ranked prospect. I got a bunch of autographs from this kid. He just sat there and signed. I mean, he can run like a deer. Now, last year at Birmingham, he had 256 at-bats, struck out 85 times. There's the problem. Hit 246. At Kansas, low A, before the graduation, he hit 300. Just a few at-bats. But Basabe can run. And if he can cut down on the strikeouts. He was involved in that trade, the sale trade. It was Moncada, Kopech, and Basabe. Basabe is a switch hitter with 5-tool potential and can play center field. And when he can work the count and draw walks, he does make a lot of hard contact. Bat speed, strong wrists. He could easily be a 2020 guy for the White Sox. And again, in that trade that sent Chris Sale over, the Red Sox got him from the Diamondbacks. So he's been traded twice. Seems to have found a place to stick with the White Sox and may well be up this year. I really like these White Sox players. I mean, there's so many of them. Alec Hansen, a right-handed pitcher. Zach Birdie, a right-handed pitcher. Jimmy Lambert, a right-handed pitcher. Connor Pilkington, a left-handed pitcher. Gavin Sheets, a first baseman. Zach Collins, catcher, first baseman. Blake Rutherford, former Yankee great, outfielder. I've already mentioned the top prospects. Loaded. are the White Sox. Coming up at 11, Kevin Hastings. Kevin, are you with me? Are you in the chat room? Are you getting ready for your show? Trying to see if you'd like to go online with me. We'll go on the air for just a few minutes. You're probably getting ready for your show, though, so we'll try that. What I'd like to do, Kevin, is you and Phil Chaplin, let's see if we can do a show over the holidays next week. So look at your schedules, guys, and we'll try to do a duet or a trio. How about that? Aloha. It's been a great morning. I've enjoyed being with you. Remember, Kevin Hastings coming up at 11. We'll dig deep again next week when we talk more minor leagues. Thank you for being in the chat room this morning. Andrea, Clarona Cyclonus, Dale, Doug Boyle, George, Malpow, Phil, Kevin. Great turnout today as we get ready for the holidays coming up. We'll try to do a live show next week and get some calls in here. How about that? Phil Chaplin is in, so just let me know when you can do it. And we shall. We shall be doing it. How about that? So everybody have a great day. Keep up with that Frankie Lindor going to Cincinnati story. There may be more on that to come. And we'll talk soon. Have a great one, everybody, from Arnie and Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports.